Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Mileena's going to do a biography on Marco DC, or a little tiny bit of one, alright? So, unlike a lot of celebrities, Marco DC had a great childhood. Well, not that they like them, some of them had great childhoods, but unlike most celebrities, Marco DC was very happy with everything in his life. There were some down times, though, some tough times. And he didn't grow up rich at all, by any means. He's still not rich now, but as Marco, of course. But he grew up with a very happy childhood. He really enjoyed his childhood, and he really had fun. Um, he was really kind of, whenever they played games or, when they were really young, they played like house and all that. And he was always the perfect one, right? Like he was always, so it wasn't too far from his real, his real role in terms of his look and everything. He was kind of the perfect one. He was always kind of the one that would, that would be, in the fake house we would play. He was always the perfect one. He was always the one that would, do. And I had a comic book collection when I was younger, and I made sure to keep it in pristine condition. And my poor brother, he had a good comic book collection too, but his was not as pristine. We always read his books, his comic books, and then for me, I would always leave mine closed and sealed for protection. He was always so nice to let me look at his comic books and not worry about mine and have mine protected and mine in pristine condition. So I'm very grateful to that. But it was funny. I was like, and this is how we grew up. Like my brother was very supportive. My whole family was very supportive. I had a very supportive family. It was almost like they were like, he's perfect. Let's let him be perfect. Let's give him all the advantages, even though we grew up poor. We all grew up with not much food and anything like that, but I never really went starving. Like I always had people giving me food and always in my family, and even though some of the other family members might not like me for this, but they might have gotten less and I always got more, and it was really nice to get that. I was always really happy, and we had food. We weren't that poor, but I mean, sometimes we really didn't have any food. It was really ridiculous, um, but yes, so I mean, like I always grew up being really happy and really enjoying life, and I always kind of was like, well, I'm really kind of like, um, I always had like I kind of noticed that I was better looking than a lot of my friends because I noticed my dad was always better looking than his friends, and his friends adored him. They were like worshipped him because he was a musician too, right? So they were always so nice to him and always calling him by his name in such a loud tone of voice with such like they would always like announce his name as if he's like a god or whatever. And then with Marco, I would get my friends be like, they knew that I was very good looking. Well, that wasn't obviously an issue in the friendship. We didn't really talk about that or anything, but especially growing up when we were kids. But I always knew there was something important about me, something good about me, and my family made sure I felt that way. They always made sure I felt really good. I mean, I'm hoping they feel really good too. I don't want them to think that I was the only important one, but they felt like they seemed to really let me feel like I was really important, and they really made sure I was taken really well taken care of. I was spoiled. I was spoiled to what you can be when you're living poor. Like we didn't have much of anything. Our house wasn't very nice. Like it was not really the ideal scenery, but I mean, in all that, I knew where I stood. I knew that I had, and the funny thing was, I didn't know that I was going to be famous. Or I'm not that I don't even know now. I mean, I'm pretty sure I will be, but I never really had like acting in me. Like I was trying to model at 18 because I was always upset with my dad for not taking his modeling to a whole new level. And I thought, well, he looks so good. Like, why isn't he a huge famous model? Like, why is he not famous? And I always was really upset by that. And I was like, well, why is he not famous? And he did well. He was popular. He was performing a lot, but it takes a lot to be famous, and you have to really work hard. And I think the reason why he was never famous was because he didn't have things like YouTube where you would get paid just on that. I think when he was trying to perform, he had terrible negotiation skills. I mean, he performs in huge venues now, but his negotiation skills weren't very good. So when he got to performing, he wasn't really getting paid a whole lot, and he could have been paid a lot more, but he was too busy trying to get any money whatsoever. But he was never the type to ask for money. Of course, for me, I'm always like, I need money. Like I can't do something without money. But he was very, he was very, he was very good at what he did. And he performed in huge venues, even now in his 80s, he performs in huge venues. But he never really asked for anything, and I was like, well, that really, I was like, well, I want to be world famous, and things like YouTube really help because you can really advance your career by being on YouTube, and it's stored. So the money you make on YouTube is saved, and it's not like you can, you know, it's not like I'm performing and I can't get a record label because I'm not able to or whatever, right? Like my dad never got a record label or anything like that, so he never got those things. So because of YouTube now, we have the opportunity to try and be rich off that. So you know, my dad had always wanted me to be a performer, but like I said, during my childhood, I never really wanted to be a performer. I was very happy just being shy and quiet, and not really doing anything much in the scene or anything like that. But nowadays, I'm like, you know what? I'm really gonna go for it, and I think my dad's really happy about it. He doesn't really say much about me performing. I think he doesn't really want to mention it, but not because he's not happy with it, but because he's just probably super happy with it. He's probably like, wow, this is great, like my son's performing. And of course, I'm pretty sure he knows. I don't even know if he knows I do Mileena, but I mean, he does. I'm sure he doesn't care because he's pretty easygoing, pretty cool guy. But I mean, and he doesn't think of it as a lifestyle thing. He probably would think of it as just just a fun thing to do for extra performance talents, right? But my dad's probably like, well, really, obviously my dad's really proud. He's like, the thing with my dad is he wanted a boy so badly, and when I was born, he wanted another boy just to make sure. And I'm so glad we had my brother. Well, they had my brother because my brother was so cool. Like my brother and I were super close growing up, so I'm really happy with him. So and my whole family's great. Like I love my family. So I'm really glad to have my family around. They're really awesome. They're so amazing. But yes, so yes, so when I started performing on YouTube, I was like, this is great. I don't have to get a record label because it's really challenging. You have to really put yourself out there. And sometimes you try and try and try, and no one cares. So you have to really. And I mean, I don't have enough. I mean, I have singles of my own, but to make sure that you got a record label, you have to have really powerful singles, and they have to be noticed around the world and like instantly. And so my singles might be taking a while to get noticed, but some of them are very, very good. I have some very, very good ones, and some of them are like, oh my goodness, this is awful. Some people must like my singles a lot because I have some videos with a lot of views on them, but I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, so to get a record label is not easy. You have to really work at it. You have to get a lot of the right attention. You have to get people to notice. And the thing is, if you have YouTube, you can get famous and just be paid on YouTube alone and do very, very well. So I'm really grateful to YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. And so yeah, so that's the whole gist of it. My family grew up poor because my dad never was able to get a record deal or anything like that. And he performed in venues, but he never really got paid his worth. And I was like so upset by that. Because I was like, well, that's not right. Um, so, and I was always like, why wasn't he a model? Why wasn't he this and that? And I always was wondering about that. And I was like, well, it's because the people that he was working for just never paid him as much. I mean, he got paid, but he didn't get paid that much. And I was like, he deserved way more. So that's why I'm here too. I want to make sure that I'm seen and noticed because I really feel that there are people that are out there that deserve a lot more attention than they're getting. So I'm really hoping that I get famous on YouTube soon. But anyway, I'm really wishing you guys well. My fans are so supportive. They love me. Thank you, fans. I love my fans. They're so cute. Anyway, thank you guys. Bye now. Hopefully you like that biography.